Vorige maand opende Israël de aanval op Iran, daags voordat Teheran opnieuw zou onderhandelen met de VS over zijn atoomprogramma. Israël beschuldigt Iran al decennia lang van het ontwikkelen van een kernbom en wilde die onderhandelingen niet afwachten. Ongehoord Nederland vroeg de Iraanse ambassadeur om een reactie op deze beschuldigingen en kreeg verrassend openhartige antwoorden over fatwa's, spionage en de rol van de Nederlandse overheid.
Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for having us, for offering us this opportunity to ask you some questions about the current affairs around Iran. The chief of the International Atomic Energy Agency, Mr. Grossi, said that Iran could be enriching uranium within months. What will happen if Iran resumes the enrichment? Does Iran expect another attack?
Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to express our views. Based on the technical assessment of our officials, the nuclear facility in Iran severely have been damaged by the United States and Israeli attack, and we don't know based on which evidence and information the head of IAEA claims that Iran can resume enrichment within months. Technically, we cannot comment on this issue because the extent of the damage that have been inflicted by the United States and Israel on our nuclear facility is still ongoing, and it's not clear for us that in how many months or weeks we can resume enrichment.
Who initiated the current ceasefire? Was it US, Israel or Iran?
We never started war and bombing. It was Israel which started bombing Iran and attacking Iranian facilities, nuclear facilities, hospitals, building, civilian infrastructure, and we just act according to United Nations Charter, in particular Article 51 of the United Nations, which gives the right to self-defense. And we never asked for ceasefire because we never started the war, and it was the Israelis and the United States that asked for ceasefire, and we said from the very beginning of the conflict that if Israel and the United States stop bombing Iran, Iran also stop its military activity against them.
And so why is it you think the US and Israel initiated the current ceasefire? Who needed the ceasefire most? Was it Israel?
Based on our assessment, yes. Israel doesn't expect such a response from Iran, and they thought that they can destroy all Iranian military capability in first strike, but they couldn't. And then when the Iran started to self-defense and bombing Israelis' military facilities, they understood that the capability of Iran to respond to any military attack is almost untouched, and then they revised their strategy and requested for ceasefire.
Iran has not withdrawn from the non-proliferation treaty. Does this mean that Iran is keeping the door open for the IAEA to resume cooperation? And if so, under what conditions will the IAEA resume cooperation?
Unfortunately, after the Israelis and the United States act of aggression against our nuclear facility, the IAEA short fall from condemning the attack by Israelis and Americans against our nuclear facility, which were under safeguard of IAEA. And based on our assessment, the head of IAEA, unfortunately, was part of campaign against Iran by providing misinformation to the board, and therefore resuming cooperation with the IAEA totally depends on future situation. We have to be 100% sure that if we resume our cooperation with IAEA, next time our information will not be provided to third party to understand where are our facility and where our nuclear enrichment activity is kept to be bombed by the United States or Israel. Therefore, the resuming cooperation with the IAEA depends on the guarantee that we have to receive that amid of negotiation we will not be betrayed again and our facility will not be bombed.
Yes, how did information that was gathered by the Atomic Agency end up in the hands of the Israeli and the Americans? Was it infiltrated?
I don't know. This question has to be asked from Mr. Garussi, that why our classified information regarding our facility and activities have been so disclosed to the other countries and parties, and in particular Israel, which is not member of to the NPT and IAEA.
Recently it was leaked that British intelligence MI6 infiltrated IAEA. How does this affect Iran's position towards the IAEA?
Our stand is that the IAEA as a technical body has to remain a technical organization to verify the compliance of state parties to the NPT. We strongly recommend IAEA, in particular IAEA Chief Mr. Garussi, to abide by the principle of IAEA to be a technical body rather than not a political body. And we believe that if IAEA engage in any political discussion or decision or deviation, it is a clear breach of its fundamental principle and rules, and therefore destroys credibility of IAEA in the international community. For the IAEA to be credible is to be purely technical and do not intervene or let the other state parties or countries to intervene in the activity and role of IAEA in safeguarding NPT.
The main reason that the US and Israel have given for the attacks is the suspicion that Iran is working on a nuclear weapon. Do you think that was also the main reason for these attacks?
No, it's false information and accusation, baseless accusation. Even the United States intelligence agencies clearly issued report that Iran is not seeking to build a nuclear weapon, and they said even Iran starts to building a nuclear weapon, it takes 2-3 years. Then therefore it was so far from building a nuclear weapon based on assessment by the intelligence services of the United States. And even Mr. Garussi, the chief of IAEA, he clearly said that we do not have any concrete information that Iran has a clandestine program of building a nuclear weapon.
What was the real reason for the attacks? Regime change, possibly, or preventing Iran for rebuilding its air defense?
If you look at Netanyahu's comments on the first days of attack, the purpose was clearly to topple the Iranian government, and based on their assessment or misinformation, they thought that if they attack Iran and kill the Iranian officials and military commanders, then the country will be remained defenseless, and they can topple the government. And you see that Netanyahu was encouraging people to take to the street and protest against the government. Yes, I believe, and it's not only my personal belief, it's assessment of even independent journalists and politicians, that the Israelis wrongly thought that they can collapse the Iranian government. And maybe it was a reason for the United States to join the campaign to be part of the victory, if to say.
Western politicians show understanding for the Israeli and American attacks on Iran because Iran is supposedly out to destroy Israel. How do you see this? How?
No Iranian official has said that Iran is going to destroy Israel. No comment you can see that an Iranian official said that we are going to attack or to destroy Israel. The issue of destruction of Israel was meant by internal process. The numerous crises that the government of Israel is facing with, it will bring us to a conclusion that the state of Israel will be destroyed internally because it doesn't have international and internal legitimacy, but destroying a country using a military vehicle is something I have never heard of any such comment from Iranian officials.
Yes, but the imagery of people, Iranian people shouting in the streets, death to Israel, death to the US, are very common in the Western media.
The slogan of death is not attributed to the people or the people and the sovereignty of a state. It was death to the policy. We don't have any problem with the people in Israel or in the United States. We don't have any problem with the government of the United States. But the slogans of this that is given by people in demonstration was death to the policy of occupation, the policy of using force to resolving the international issues, and death to lawful action that is committed by United States and Israel, death to genocide policy, death to occupation policy. It's not death to people, it's not death to the government and officials.
Iran has a large Jewish community. How is it doing now? Is there fear in Iran of fifth column? Is there fear among Jewish people in Iran?
The Jewish community in Iran, they are Iranian, they are part of Iranian nation, they have been part of Iranian nation throughout the history. They are very committed to the rules and principle of an independence of their country. During 8 wars with Iraq, we have several hundreds of Jewish that took part in war against Iran. They defended their homeland. Some of them have been killed in Iran-Iraq war, and their graves is a testimony of their adherence to the homeland. We do not see any systematic adherence of our Jewish community to Israel, acting as fifth column. They are free in our country to practice their religion. They have, although their number is not too big, but they have a member in Iranian parliament. And if we find somebody act as a fifth column of Israel or espionage for Israel, regardless of being Jewish or any kind of religion, it will, he or she has to be responsible for his acts. But we do not think that our Jewish people are generally in line with Israelis' policy. In contrary, in several stands, they took street or a demonstration and condemned Israelis' discrimination and genocidal act in Gaza and Palestine.
The Dutch government emphasizes on its website that the development of the international legal order is a permanent objective of Dutch foreign policy under Article 90 of the Constitution. It calls itself the international legal capital of the world. What do you make of the reactions of Dutch state officials on the Israeli and American attacks on Iran? Dutch officials did not condemn the attacks.
As you said, the Netherlands is the capital of the international law, and the two main entities of the international law, International Court of Justice and International Criminal Court, are hosted by the Netherlands. And definitely Netherlands has a significant role in promoting the rule of law and development of the international law. But Netherlands, along with the other European Union, unfortunately didn't take a strong stand against act of aggression by the Israelis and the United States against Iran. And as you said, we expect, in particular, the Netherlands has to strongly condemn and take a explicit stand against aggression and violation of the international law in the issue of aggression by the United States and Israel.
So why do you think Dutch officials did not condemn the attacks?
For two reasons. First, the Netherlands is acting in coordination with the European Union. The second issue that is very clear for everybody, that the Netherlands has a good relation with Israel, with the United States, amid of genocide and attacking Palestinians in Gaza and West Bank. Unfortunately, still we have the report that the Netherlands still is providing spare parts for F-35 fighters, which are the main source of campaign of Israelis against Palestinians and also Iran.
In October 2003, Supreme Leader Khamenei issued a fatwa that forbade the production and use of any weapon of mass destruction. What was his motivation, and why did he issue this fatwa at this moment in time?
It was not a fatwa or religion decree to please any person or any state. It's a fundamental principle of Iranian thought, Islamic thought, that prohibit using of any kind of weapons of mass destruction, whether it is nuclear or chemical or biological or any kind of weapons of mass destruction, because it doesn't discriminate between civilians and military, and therefore mass killing of people in Islam is strictly forbidden. In Islam, you are allowed to defend yourself and only fight against military and military installation. And therefore, this fatwa is coming from very fundamental root of Islam that prohibit any attack on civilian or civilian infrastructure or launching any attack which does not indiscriminate between civilian and military.
And why did Khamenei issue the fatwa in October 2003? The timing of the whole thing?
Because at that time, the issue of Iranian nuclear program was receiving high attention by the international community, and there was accusation by the United States and some other countries that Iran is pursuing nuclear facility. The fatwa was not a new issue. As I said, it was clearly a fundamental principle of Islam. And therefore, fatwa was issued at that time to once again remind the international community that in developing nuclear program, Iran never intends to develop and produce nuclear weapons.
Israel has nuclear bombs. Is it not better for Iran's security if Iran has a nuclear weapon to deter Israel, which probably has more than 100 nuclear bombs?
You know the history of nuclear bombs. The nuclear bombs have been used by the United States in the Second World War, and from that time, several countries developed nuclear weapons, but the nuclear weapons have not been used any international conflict, or regional conflict. We believe, in addition to our religion principle, which prohibits developing weapons of mass destruction, we believe nuclear facility cannot bring security for any possessor state. The best example is the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union had a big arsenal of nuclear weapons, competing with the United States capability of having nuclear weapons, but it didn't prevent Soviet Union to collapse, and therefore we do not think that there is a value in having nuclear weapon, because you cannot use nuclear weapon. The international norm and standard and regulation and law today doesn't allow any country to use nuclear weapon, and therefore having nuclear weapon doesn't bring any security. In contrary, it needs considerable financial and human resources, and it is contrary to the international norms and regulation. As I said, there is no real benefit of having nuclear weapon.
If Iran is not pursuing a nuclear weapon, why has it enriched uranium beyond the level needed to produce nuclear power? For IAEA stated the significantly increased production and accumulation of highly enriched uranium by Iran, the only non-nuclear weapon state to produce such nuclear material, is of serious concern.
First of all, Iran enriched uranium to 60% as a reaction to the United States withdrawal from the JCPOA, and in action by the European Union and EU3 to implement their commitment under the nuclear deal in 2018. And from the very beginning, all Iranian officials said that if the United States and European Union come back to the deal and implement their commitment under the JCPOA, Iran also take those steps back first. Secondly, 60% enrichment is not nuclear grade enrichment. For nuclear bomb, you need enrichment beyond 90%. Thirdly, it's not in violation of NPT because 60% still has a peaceful usage. I mean, in submarines and big ships, there is a nuclear reactor that are using nuclear enriched in 60%. Therefore, although we enrich up to 60%, still we did not deviate for nuclear bomb, and we do not breach our obligation and commitment under NPT. And finally, all these enrichment activity and a stockpile of 60% uranium enrichment was under supervision of IAEA, systematically viewed by camera or by personnel and inspectors of IAEA. And therefore, there was nothing to hide.
Iran is very rich in oil and gas. Where does it need uranium for in the first place to produce nuclear energy?
Iran is a large country with 95 million population, which is growing, needs nuclear energy for producing electricity, also for producing pharmaceutical, nuclear-based medicine and research. Having a large amount of fossil fuel doesn't mean we shall not pursue nuclear energy, because nuclear energy is cheaper and very safe for the environment. You know, today the issue of global warming is a very important issue, and we are facing with side effect and impact of global warming. Therefore, the international community is pushing for reducing the carbon emission. We have to encourage the policy of building more nuclear facilities rather than to decreasing the number of the nuclear power plant. This is first issue. Second issue, you see the United States is the biggest and the first producer of oil and gas in the world. But the United States has too many power plants that's using nuclear enrichment, uranium enrichment to produce electricity. And it is the case for some other countries in the world as well.
Russia proposed to move uranium to Russia to convert it into civilian reactor fuel. What was Iran's reaction to this proposal?
Before, under the JCPOA, we had such agreement, and this issue could be dealt with any future negotiation. We cannot comment on the Russian proposal at this stage, but during the future negotiation on our nuclear program, the Russian proposal is a possibility. It could be discussed.
On June 20, the day before the US attack on Iran, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, said on X, "America has intelligence that Iran is at the point that it can produce a nuclear weapon within weeks to months, if they decide to finalize the assembly." Is this true? Was it at that time possible for Iran to produce a nuclear weapon within weeks to months if it decided to do so? Does Iran have all the material needed to assemble a nuclear weapon?
Unfortunately, the United States and Israel from 2003, they are saying Iran has few weeks, few months to build a nuclear weapon. From 2003, it is 21 years after that, still they are saying the same story. Iran in weeks or in months will be able to produce nuclear weapon. No, our principle is not to produce nuclear weapon. Nuclear weapons has different components. We are knowledgeable to enrich uranium, and the enriching uranium is only one part of building a nuclear bomb. But Iran never developed the other side of the issue, and Iran from 2003 up to now denied any attempt to build a nuclear weapon, and these are only claims, and there is no single technical evidence by the United States and Israel, just accusation. If you claim something, you have to prove it and bring evidence and information, but without providing information and reliable document, it's only baseless accusation that Israelis and Americans are very familiar and famous for bringing these accusations to the others. You remember in 2003, they said they are going to invade Iraq to destroy weapons of mass destruction, and they never find a single weapons of mass destruction in Iraq to avoid, to destroy. Those was only allegations by the United States and its ally to attack Iran and to topple the Iraqi regime.
But does Iran have all the material needed to assemble a nuclear weapon?
No.
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 But if uranium is enriched up to 90%, does Iran have all material needed to build a nuclear weapon?
Enriching 90% is only part of the material which is needed for building a nuclear weapon. There are some other components of nuclear weapons that Iran has never developed.
Israel has bombed Iran on the eve of negotiations with the United States. How does this affect the level of trust Iran has in negotiations with the US going forward?
I think the attempt by Israeli was aimed at destroying negotiation, and unfortunately the United States accompanied Israelis, and it's clear for us, and it's logical for everybody that you cannot negotiate and at the same time be bombed.
You said that the U.S. accompanied Israel during the bombing, or?
You know, the first war started by Israel, and later stage the United States joined Israel by bombing nuclear facility. And you know, the next round of negotiation was scheduled at that time for Sunday, and it was Friday or Saturday. They bombed Iran. Israelis bombed Iran. The United States, sorry. It gives a mistrust to our side, and any kind of negotiation in future will not be credible unless we receive a strong guarantee that amid any future negotiation we will not be bombed again.
How have the developments of the last year impacted Iran's relationship with its neighbors, such as Saudi Arabia and Turkey? There was an approachment between Iran and Saudi Arabia.
We had very good relation during past several years with Saudi Arabia and Turkey. With Turkey, we had all the time very friendly relation. We have big exchange of trade between Turkey and Iran. Saudi Arabia is a very important country in Islamic world. therefore, having good relation with Saudi Arabia is very important. We are in the same region. We have to be benefited from very good relation. I think the issue of having good relation between these countries, as you said, it's very important, and there is a determination among politicians and high-level authorities in these countries to promote and develop even better relations in future.
How does Iran view the new administration of Syria?
We are waiting for any further development in Syria. We believe any government in Syria has to be legally elected by people in Syria, and any government has to be inclusive in Syria, inclusive of all religion and all nation, and therefore we are closely watching the development in Syria. We hope that Syria will be independent, stable, and country and the government will be inclusive of all religion and nation. And we are waiting for future development that after the interim government, the election to be held and the process of engagement of all nations and religion in the political process in Syria to be taken into account, and any government to be inclusive, as I said.
How does Iran view the relationship with the Sunni Muslim world in the light of the war with Israel?
We doesn't differentiate between Sunnis, Christians, Shias, Jewish in the world, and in particular, as you said, in war with Israel. Iran is the biggest supporter of Palestinian, but Palestinians are Sunni and Iran are Shia. The issue of religion doesn't matter. Our principle is to support oppressed people against oppressor.
Thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to hear your opinion about current affairs.
Thank you very much. Thank you.